Hi, this is the Ego Project, and I'm with Rhys-Thorvald Hansen, and we are going to do a mini. So Rhys, I have a question for you. Whenever we're learning something new and we're stepping into a new arena or meeting new people, we have this fear of making a mistake. And so can you talk a little bit about how we can build this embodied resilience to conflict or to conflicting ideas, or even just, our internal fear of making an error? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, and I have a sort of counterintuitive answer, but I want to give a little bit of framework first of like where that's coming from. Like one of the lies that white supremacy culture tells us in American and much of Canadian culture is that making mistakes is something that only bad people do, and making mistakes makes you a bad person. And that's a really hard, like, untruth to grapple with and to unlearn. And I don't want to pretend like I have done that. But what I have learned is it is really easy to get stuck in that, like, I don't want to make a mistake because I'm a bad person if I make mistakes, and I have to like be perfect all the time in order for people to think that I'm good and for me to belong. And it takes up so much emotional energy. And if instead you assume that you are going to make mistakes in relationships, if you assume that there's going to be conflict, and have faith in the fact that you have a strong enough relationship to resolve that, or have the non-attachment of resolving it and just letting it exist, it's a skill that builds on itself. So I would say if you want to learn to be better at navigating conflict, and especially the rush of emotions and sort of freeze that can come up when you can feel that tension in the air, you need to create opportunities for you to make more mistakes. It's a muscle that you're going to be able to grow up on. So where are there places that you can practice low lifts of vulnerability? Where can you take smaller risks with smaller consequences of messing up, that then will allow you to build that capacity, to build that experience with that sort of hormonal adrenaline rush that comes into your body, and you can feel that, because the more that you experience it, the less of a crisis it's going to feel like. And then as you do those low level mistakes and you see that the relationships can survive, or that you can survive the shift of a relationship or the end of a relationship because of mistakes, the more capacity that you potentially will have to take bigger risks and have bigger payoffs. And people respond really well to vulnerability. Like, people can smell BS, and if you try to double down and pretend like you haven't done anything wrong or you didn't misstep, that is not a bid for a relationship. That's a bid for like branding, and people can see that you're trying to brand yourself as perfect and will not respond to it. But if you come in and are like, hey, I want to take ownership of like what I did, and I'm going to take ownership of the consequences, and like let you as the person who is receiving the impact of my mistakes guide like what repair looks like and what reparation looks like, you're going to learn so much of that process. And then people are going to act like you have a superpower because you're like not freaked out about conflict, because white culture is so conflict averse.
Oh, that's so good. That's wonderful advice, and it gives so much opportunity to expand your world as opposed to staying in this little box. So I love that. Thank you.
We all want more authentic connections, and pretending like we're perfect robots doesn't create authentic connection. And not everything is going to be repairable, and that's okay. Like, we all learn we all make mistakes. All we can do is to learn to fail better the next time.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Rhys. We'll see you next time.